Bro, how you feeling tonight?
Doing good, man.
That's what's up, man.
How about you?
Man, you know what? I would say today was a pretty good day. But for some, it was actually a devastating day, and I'll tell you why. So what's been trending in the news is Travis Scott Astroworld Festival. Great album, by the way. Great album. I like him as an artist, but I've been reading up on some of his concert antics. But before we get started, first off, as always, we want to thank our listeners. We want to thank our subscribers. We want to thank
Thank you.
our sponsors, those that have been rocking with us from day one. Coming up on a year now, bro.
Yep.
And we've talked about it a lot. We will continue to talk about it a lot. And everything we do is to make the culture better. So thank you guys. If you haven't had a chance yet, please like,
Thank
subscribe,
you.
follow us. We are on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and you can listen to us obviously on YouTube, but also Apple, Google, Spotify, and iHeart. So let's jump into it. Travis Scott. I was reading something, man, and one of the things that hadn't been talked about. So let me first give some background and context of what we're talking about. This happened on November 5th of this year, 2021. So 10 days ago. He had a concert in his hometown of Houston at NRG Park. And during the concert, people started rushing the stage, moving toward the stage. And as a result of that, people were injured and at least 10 people died. Hundreds were injured. But here's the kicker: the ages of the people that died were from the age range of 9 to 27 years old. Now, I got a big problem with a 9-year-old being at a concert like that. And the 9-year-old's death was actually just confirmed today. But here's what I want to get into, and here's why we're talking about this. I dug into his history a little bit when it comes to concerts. So let's go all the way back to 2015. At Lollapalooza in 2015, he was charged and arrested for disorderly conduct after inciting concert goers to ignore security and rush the stage. That same year, at the open air festival in Switzerland, he encouraged fans to attack a man who took his shoe while he was crowd surfing by stopping the concert and repeatedly telling the crowd to fuck him up while also spitting on him. In 2017, he was arrested for similar conduct at Lollapalooza for his behavior after a performance in Northwest Arkansas.
So they let him back after the first incident?
And that
Okay, that's
same year,
okay.
a fan sued Scott and the organizers of a 2017 concert at Terminal 5 in Manhattan after falling from a balcony and being dragged on stage, blaming the fall on a crowd surge. 3 people were trampled and injured as a crowd rushed to enter the compound at Astroworld. This all led up to what just happened 10 days ago. So apparently he has a history of this type of behavior. It's not new. It's something that he does at his concert. So after reading that, and I was just informed of this tonight, I can absolutely understand why people are upset at him because he has a history. And look, when you're on stage, man, when we was talking to Yazara and she was talking about the energy that's on stage, when you're on stage in front of thousands of people, you got an awful lot of power. You can kind of direct that energy. If you tell everybody to wave their hands to the left, they're going to wave their hands to the left. If you tell them to wave their hands to the right, they're going to wave their hands to the right. If you tell them to jump up and down, they're going to do it. Like people, I don't think they realize, in a sense, they're in a trance being compelled by the performer on stage. You ever see videos of people at Michael Jackson concerts and how they be crying and just going nuts and crazy and all that? That's all that energy in that room, and you as the performer have basically free reign to do whatever you want, because in that moment you're the most powerful person in that room. And the more people are in that room, like I'm pretty sure there were thousands of people at this dude's concert. In that moment, you got thousands of people at your disposal. And for you to incite that, like this dude literally tells fans to rush the stage, overrun security, beat people up. And obviously 10 days ago, unfortunately, 10 people died. That was a very sad thing. But what's your take on that, man? What's your take on what happened at Astroworld? And what do you think should have been done?
So I'm gonna give you my reasons of why I don't Astroworld. Let's start with this. What did you say his first incident was?
First incident was, let's see, 2015 at Lollapalooza.
Look, I Can Fly. That is his documentary that's on Netflix about his performances, about his come up from the bottom to stardom, right? And if you look at that doc, you see a lot of that in there. So going to a Travis Scott concert, yes, he can control a lot of things, but this isn't new. We know, like I've heard about Travis Scott's concerts and how live they be and the energy. So you know, definitely when you say it's documented, like doc written down, you know what you're getting into. But now telling people to fight off security and everything, like, okay, I don't agree with that. But let's be honest, man. This happens in a lot of concerts. It's just those people aren't Travis Scott. That's really what it is. It's a bigger name and it's more noticeable. I never really got the crowd surfing. Like I never thought that was safe anyway. But if you think like Travis Scott is more of a, even though he's hip hop, he's more of rock too. Like it's like a rock style. Like the crowd surfing and it's all energy. But as far as the Astroworld thing, man, listen. From what I seen so far, I don't think he told anybody to stop, like to ignore security. I actually saw a video on TikTok that's floating around where before all of that happened, he had paused it, and I guess somebody fainted, and he had got security to get the person up, or whatever. I had seen that video, but my thing is this, man. As adults, yes, he has the authority to stop things, but his job is to perform, not to babysit people in the crowd. Like, first off, is it still a pandemic going on, Price?
From my knowledge, yes.
Okay, so that's another conversation for another day. But it's supposed to be this so-called pandemic. I guess it don't exist where it's thousands and millions, possibly millions of dollars involved. But I just don't think like you said, like, why is your 9-year-old kid at a Travis Scott concert anyway? Like, who, from what I heard, the concert, you're face to face with people who want to be at an event like that. I don't want to, like, whether COVID or not, I don't want to be at an event where everybody's just in my space, like, and like bumping into people. That's why, like, I never really could get into like even like the club scene. I just don't like that. So, but for me, he's on stage performing. Like, he's on stage doing his job. Like, security, unless, like, I don't think he, like I said, I don't see a video of him not telling security to don't stop anything. Like, so that's their job to, hey, back it up. That's their job to, hey, let's relax. Like, I worked at stadiums before. Like, security's job is to, you supposed to, instead of watching a concert or get into the concert, you supposed to be watching what's going on. Like, that should have been stopped before you even got that. Like, before first off, all those people shouldn't even be in there, because I guarantee you most of them didn't even have tickets. Like, it's like that's known in those type of concerts to be able to get past and just go. Like, to me, I put that more so on this particular instance. Not talk about all the other ones, but this particular incident, I put that more so on security and the staff there did not do Travis Scott, because it shouldn't even got to that. Like it shouldn't have got to that, man.
So what I was saying was I see why people are upset at Travis Scott. Not that it's his fault, because I believe that, just like you said, if you know he has a history of this type of behavior, and this could have, obviously the potential for it to get out of hand is
Still
there.
gave him your money.
Not just that, but the audience should have been set up a certain way, right? It should have been a limit to how many people you allowed in. So, for example, I don't know how many people were at this show, but you can separate. You can put
like, what was the capacity level, pretty much,
in sections. I don't know what the capacity was, but I know that you can put people within certain sections. Like, okay, we're going to need this many people over here, this many people over here, and this many people over here, or we're not doing a show. Like, because they actually have the right. If you don't have security at your show, the city can shut it down. But and now I know why it was so hyped, because it was in his hometown, and dude is basically a really, really big deal there. But here's my thing. Here's what I want to get into. I was listening to hip hop music when I was around 10, 11, 12 years old, but I wasn't going to concerts. I want to get on these parents. Why was your 9 and 10-year-old at a Travis Scott concert? You know what he talks about in his music? I'm pretty sure they knew what the concert would be like too. Of course, they didn't anticipate death, but like you said, Travis Scott has a history, and in his documentary, that behavior was highlighted. Why would you allow your 9 and 10-year-old to go to the with people who are in their 20s, 30s, with people doing drugs? I mean, come on now. Like, what kind of irresponsible parenting is that? Willie, you have a 10-year-old, right? Would you let him go to a Travis Scott concert?
My 10-year-old don't even listen to Travis Scott.
Well, let's just say if your 10-year-old was a fan of a hip hop artist, would you let him go to that concert?
No.
Absolutely not. That to me
is outside of the performance. We all know things that go on in concerts anyway.
Exactly. So why would you have? And I'm pretty sure they saw the crowd when they were pulling up to drop them off. So now I'm not sure if the parents were there accompanying them or not, but even if the parents were there, that's still too young to take a kid. Now, to me, you got to be at least 16, and it's got to be like 5 or 10 of y'all going with chaperones for me to let my kid go to a concert. And even then, I still probably wouldn't let him go, because I'm just that type of dude. But that to me is irresponsible parenting. That could have been prevented. That should have been prevented, because your kid 9 times out of 10 didn't buy that ticket. You did. Because I don't know too many 9-year-olds buying tickets to concerts out here. They would have to have been dropped off. I'm guessing they didn't take an Uber. They probably had their parents take them. So that to me is on the parent. Now, as far as the concert itself, that to me is on security. And from what I understand, Drake was at the show too, right? So it's like Travis Scott should have stopped it. Do I see why they're mad at him? Yes, but security has a right to shut down the show. Like, now don't get me wrong, Travis Scott can shut down the show if he wanted to. But once things got out of hand, it shouldn't have come to people getting trampled to death for the concert to finally stop. And that would have been job of security, which raises another question. I'm going to say this and then I'll shut up. We are in a pandemic. Why isn't there capacity limits to concerts, whether you're vaccinated or not? Why isn't there capacity limits? Like, just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you can't get COVID. And just because you're vaccinated and you have a card doesn't mean you don't have COVID. So why isn't there capacity limits? And we see it with sporting events, with a lot of these concerts and festivals. You remember back last year where they had a mandate where if it was more than 10 people, you couldn't actually have a gathering?
Yeah.
Right. Yep. I'm not saying it should only be 10 people, but man, for a place to get so packed where people are getting trampled on, and there's a history of that type of energy, I think that could have been, that should have been prevented. That's my take.
Yeah. So, and man, again, like I said, I think I do understand also why people are upset, but at the same time, it could have been prevented on both sides, So that's my take on it too. Like, you got security, you got grown people in the crowd that should know how to act accordingly. But hey, you're at a concert, there's drinks involved. Why should we expect regular civilization there? But that's my take on it too, man. Just a quick thought. This is gonna lead into make sure you be on the lookout, because this is gonna lead into our one of the next topics we're gonna hit that has to do with parenting. So make sure you be on the lookout for that. That's coming up sooner rather than later. You close this out, man.
Yeah, man. I just got one final question for you, if you don't mind. What's your biggest takeaway from that incident?
My biggest takeaway from that is that it's such a cliche where they say safety first, but it's really not. Like, what are we doing? Like, are we in a pandemic? Do we care about safety of others? Because that whole thing did not add up to me. Like, from the responsibility of the adults to the parents that was there to the so-called CDC and his pandemic mandate would you look at the videos, there weren't masks involved. Even if it was a mask involved, it was once upon a time where you were still supposed to stay 6 feet. So to me, like, my biggest takeaway from that is like, it only matters when because there's money involved there. So are we really in a pandemic? That was my biggest takeaway from that.
That's a great point. That's a great point. And so my biggest takeaway is clearly you got to be responsible for your own safety. Like, I could just imagine the people who were there who witnessed that. Maybe they were far enough away to where they weren't a part of being injured or, of course, dying.
And we all have instincts. Like, you saw, like, your instincts show you something's about to happen. You just ignored it.
Yeah, and when you're in a crowd like that, you can feel the energy in the room, man. You can feel when something's off. I'm obviously never going to a Travis Scott concert a day in my life, but my thing is that whenever you go to large gatherings like that, don't expect for the person on stage or even security to be responsible for your safety. You have to be responsible for your own safety. And if you don't feel comfortable, get the hell out of there. That's my take. So yeah, man. Prayers going out to all the families, as well as all the concert goers. Even prayers going out to Travis Scott, simply because of the fact that, a lot of people are kind of dogging him right now, but that brother needs prayers too, because I'm pretty sure, you can act a certain way when you're on stage or have a certain thing going on for the media, but behind closed doors, I'm pretty sure he was affected by that. So prayers for him too. Video coming up, just like Willie said. Really great take. We're going to knock that out for you all this week. Please be sure to stay tuned. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, subscribe, like and share, and leave a comment below. What did you think of Astroworld that happened on November 5th? We would love to hear what you have to think. Be sure to follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And you can stream us live on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart, and of course, right here on YouTube. You got anything, Willie?
No, sir. You touched all bases, man. Thank you, the people. We the
All right. Well, there it is. Another episode, Black Culture Podcast. I'm Price. That's
the Willie Ashford.
it's the Black Culture Podcast. Peace.